Can Bayern Munich and Nicholas Jackson cause havoc at the Allianz Arena tomorrow night? Chelsea are in town. Our first Champions League game of the season. We have to do something tomorrow night. Welcome back to From the Shed and welcome back to the channel. If you're new, as always, please hit that subscribe button and like this video. Also, leave your comments in the description. And as I said previously on the live streams earlier on today, we are getting our Discord set up. So if you haven't already, hit that notification bell. You'll be one of the first to know about our Discord, a community, a forum where Chelsea fans can come together and discuss the blues, the mighty blues. We can discuss everything Chelsea related in that Discord, to make sure you keep an eye out for that one. But Bayern Munich tomorrow, if you haven't already, the live stream that I did earlier is up there for you to hit after this video. This video is all about Enzo Maresca and Reece James as they headed to the press conference earlier on this evening and gave us an insight into what is happening all in things at Chelsea. So before we do anything, let's get straight into our match squad, the traveling match squad that has gone straight over to Cobham, from Cobham to Bayern Munich tomorrow. So as we know, as I said earlier on today, Asugo has been removed out of the squad. We knew that already. Facundo Bonanotte has been included, and he's now part of the Champions League squad for tomorrow's match and other games in the Champions League. So as you can see here, the squad is on the screen. We've got Sanchez, Jurgensen, Kurd, who's a young goalkeeper as well, Achiempong, Chalobah, Fofana, Tosin, James, Gusto, Hato, Cucurella, Caicedo, Enzo, Andre Santos, Bonanotto, Palmer, George, Garnacho, Gittins, Esteval, Neto, João Pedro and Marc Gui make up the travelling squad that have headed over to Germany. Now, our game tomorrow is 8 p.m. kickoff in the Allianz Arena. History there, as I said before, 2012. You have to remember we beat Bayern Munich in the final. Didier Drogba with the final header and the winning penalty to secure the Champions League. I remember exactly where I was, exactly what I was doing, exactly what I was wearing, exactly what I was drinking on that day, 2012. It's a special moment in our hearts. But we have to remember, things have changed. Chelsea have changed. Bayern Munich have changed. Things have changed a lot in that space of time. Am I confident for tomorrow? 110% yes, because I think we have everything going in our favour at the moment. Now, in the live stream that I did earlier, I did mention that Bayern Munich have been smashing teams. They smashed Hamburg 5-0 the weekend just gone on Saturday, but I'm not too concerned by that. I'm looking at the teams that Bayern Munich have faced, even in their domestic cup, the Bundesliga. I'm not too concerned. At all. What I am concerned about is how Maresca gets us to line up tomorrow. And I need to stress something very, very clearly. We have to stress that we have to get this team playing in the best way, shape or form. Ideally, we have to put out our strongest squad tomorrow. No resting of players, no giving players a couple of minutes here or there if we think they might pick up an injury. This is the Champions League. This is Bayern Munich. We don't need to rest any players. We don't. Our next game, big game, Saturday, 5:30, Manchester United, Old Trafford. We'll have a match preview out for that later in the week. But let's go straight into the press conference. It was Reece James with Enzo Maresca. Some really good questions. And normally these press conferences, you get maybe one or two stupid questions, but actually the questions tonight were actually decent questions. Let's start off with Enzo Maresca, who was first as part of the press conference earlier on this evening. Maresca was asked, is he excited to be taking Chelsea into the Champions League? Enzo Maresca clearly says here, that first of all, that we're happy to be in a competition. 1 year ago, we were playing Conference League playoffs, so we're happy to be here. Winning the Conference League, the Club World Cup helped with an experience. So he was asked in a press conference around the lack of experience from the Champions League, from a Champions League perspective in terms of our players. But he has said here that when you start something, you have a lack of experience. But to get experience, you have to start. And we start tomorrow, which I thought was a really good comeback question, simply because we know that a lot of our players haven't had opportunities to play in the Champions League. Gittins, Reece James, potentially the only two. Enzo Fernandez has probably played in that capacity as well. But we know that we have to do what we can do in terms of winning this game. Now, I think this is an interesting point here because he does say in the press conference earlier, I like to go game by game. You cannot think about the final or the semi-final. If you can't win the games in the group stage, tomorrow is against a fantastic team. They are one of 4 or 5 favourites for this competition, which I agree with. Bayern Munich do have a very good attacking front line in terms of Elise, Luis Diaz, Harry Kane. Obviously, Nicholas Jackson will form part of that. So we know that they are going to be going forward and being an attacking team. So I get, you do want to sort of take game by game, and you can do that in the Champions League. Obviously, it's slightly different in the Premier League where games are coming thick and fast, but you do have that sort of breathing space in the Champions League just to take a game at a time and understand what team you're playing. Maybe you do rotate against Paphos and Karabag, but the likes of Bayern Munich, you have to take them as they are for face value. It's going to be a difficult game tomorrow, but I am very confident that we can get the result. He also went on Maresca to say that, knowing that every game is different, every competition is different, Bayern are in the moment one of the favourites. He also said we try every game, even against Brentford, with one of our best 11. Game by game, you manage different problems. Last game, Cole wasn't fit to play 90 minutes. Players like Esteval were out. Tomorrow we'll try and put out our best 11. Now that is very, very, very important. Very, very important, because I said earlier on the live stream, you have to put your best 11 out. Reece James has to be in the squad. Cole Palmer has to be in the squad. Now, I have question marks about Esteval. I think he's a really good player. As I've said before, many, many times on here, I think Esteval is one of the better players that we have in the squad. My worry is I don't want to have him burnt out. And I think the game on Saturday against Manchester United is, again, a very crucial game. Do you bring Esteval into this team from the start, or do you play him as a substitution, maybe second half, you bring him into that game? Massive TBC for me in there, but I like the fact that Esteval, Maresca seems and deems him as one of the more important players in our starting 11. So we'll have to see how he starts tomorrow. He also went on to say we'll see tomorrow about Cole Palmer if he starts. Obviously, Palmer came on, was given a bit of minutes, scored the goal against Brentford as well. So we'll have to see if he gets minutes tomorrow from the very start of the game. Be interesting how he sets him up. Does he play him off the right? Does he play him in the 10? So there's a lot of question marks there from Maresca. Some news on Nicholas Jackson as well. So we got a bit of talk. Obviously, we know Nicholas Jackson is someone that Maresca knows very well. He's coached him, managed him day by day. He says here, I said the other day, I'm grateful, thankful to Nico because if we achieved what we achieved last year, it's because of all the players, including Nicholas. Maresca also went on to say that I texted him after he left the club, telling him thanks for last season, wishing him all the best. He's a good guy, was working well. And I think that's a fair point. Nicholas Jackson, again, one of these players that didn't really come out and vocally voice his displeasure at Maresca or anything to do with the club. He came out and, carried on playing his football. Unfortunately, got injured, fell out of favour because of Delap and João Pedro coming in. But we have to wish him the best after we play him. We can't wish him the best before we play him. Maresca also goes on to say that he feels that 2 strikers, Liam Delap and João Pedro, are enough. He thinks 2 strikers is enough. Now, I do question Maresca on that, because to win Champions Leagues, to win Premier Leagues, I've always said you need at least 3 strikers. You need 3 options. Now, we do have Mark Gui, who we know is a good player. But I also think we need to bring in other players as well. And I think maybe you need that third quality striker, top striker, to be able to come in and perform and do well. Rest João Pedro, rest Liam Delap at times. But he feels that 2 strikers is enough. Big question mark there for me in terms of that. But he also says as well, Maresca, Robert Sanchez will start tomorrow's game. Felipe Jurgensen will play games in the Premier League, the Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. We have so many games that Robert cannot play all the time. So we have it there that Robert Sanchez will be starting tomorrow in the game. He's also said many, it's a long season, many games. You have to rotate. It's not something you can plan. It's game by game. You can plan something and then have injuries. You can try rotating players, knowing that the Champions League is a bit different from last season's competition. So at least you can see from how he's talking, he's understanding that this is not the Conference League. This is actually the Champions League, where you have to put your strongest squad out in order to get 3 points and progress into that last 16 out of the group stages as well. he did go on to say, which I thought was quite important, there can be a small advantage with Nicholas Jackson being in a Bayern Munich team after playing at Chelsea. Meaning Vincent Kompany, can ask Nico how we work and play. He was with us with an entire season, so knows how we approach games. But at the end, we'll see. Now, I do think there is a slight advantage there because Nicholas Jackson will know how we're potentially going to set up tomorrow. Kompany can use that to his advantage. But at the end of the day, if we're good enough, it doesn't matter what happens behind closed doors on the training grounds, the pre-match stuff. It's what you do in 90 minutes that counts. And other players have moved to other clubs and played their teams, afterwards. So this is no different. And I don't think we should play into that narrative that Nicholas Jackson's got the tactical board out with Vincent Kompany tomorrow morning before the game. So let's not worry about that. Let's just focus on what we can do. Very quickly before we wrap up, Reece James, mentions here that we qualified for this competition. We've won 2 trophies. With all the change, we started slow, but last season we came on leaps and bounds. He was asked as well. He is the last standing player of the 2021 Champions League winning squad. Reece James goes on to say here, I was aware of being the last Chelsea player. It's difficult. The club's had a lot of change. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. Look at last season, which I agree with. It's a small stepping stone. Club World Cup, Conference League, top 4 finish. I think it's progress in terms of what we've had over the last couple of seasons. He also went on to say that there's no WhatsApp group for the 2021 Chelsea's winning squad, but it's always special when you cross paths and see each other, which, as we know, Reece James has done that over the last couple of seasons or so. He also said as well, which I thought was interesting, I wouldn't say my goal is as the same as last season. Now, if you remember last season, Reece James was asked what is his ambitions and his aims for the season, and it was to stay as fit as he could, to get onto the pitch as much as he could and impact the games. He went on this evening and said, I've been on the pitch a while now, feeling good and strong. We want to compete at the highest level in the Premier League, all domestic trophies and the Champions League. That's our target this season. So it shows you that he's clearly beyond that, trying to manage his minutes and stay fit. He feels like he's ready enough to be involved in the game as much as possible. Again, he's gone on to talk about Nico, knows him really well, an amazing player. Playing against him will be tough, but on the other hand, it will help me out. We know how he plays, which, again, if we're talking about the stuff with Vincent Kompany and what Nicholas Jackson might be able to give to Bayern, we also know how Nicholas Jackson, if he gets on the pitch, will also be how he'll set up as well and do his game. But yeah, he's actually come out and said, I was surprised that he left Chelsea for Bayern. I didn't expect the player to go. Player wanted a solution, I think, and the club wanted a solution. He's an amazing player. I wish him all the best, but not tomorrow night, which I think is very, very important. Now, as I said, the live stream is up and running. We will have our on our socials, we'll have our lineups out tomorrow, our predicted lineups, myself and Theo. So make sure you head over to Instagram in the morning. On Twitter, you'll be able to see our predicted lineups as well over there. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm still sticking with the 3-1 score prediction that I gave earlier on today. I still think we'll be able to. I think we'll be able to beat them. But I say all that in the live stream. So make sure after you hit this video from the debrief at the press conference, you head over to the live stream from this morning. You'll be able to hear all my thoughts, all my reactions to the match, and hopefully, when we come back here tomorrow, 3 points clearer in the Champions League. Looking forward to Manchester United at the weekend. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that Linktree link in the description. And we'll be back tomorrow evening for a post-match reaction.